It's Quentin Crisco. How we doing tonight, Quentin?
I'm doing wonderful, Jay. And that is because Chicago Bears did not win this weekend. They did not lose. They are still sitting top 3 in draft position, and that makes me a happy man. But
Happy man.
before we get started too much here, I got a hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
So you are down. You're the head coach and GM, total control. And you're down by 6 points in a game, and you need to go 98 yards. 2 minutes left. You signed 3 QBs this week, just in case this happened. And now you have to choose which one you're going with.
Patrick Mahomes.
I got to tell you what QBs you signed first.
Oh, okay.
So the first is current day Kirk's cousin, who currently leads the NFL in game-winning drives with 6. The second is current day Baker Mayfield, who accomplished this feat just last week. And the third is 50-year-old Tom Brady. Rank your choices.
50-year-old Tom Brady? Okay. So I got to put 50-year-old Tom Brady last. I mean, if he's got a good offensive line, maybe, but we don't know what kind of offensive line we're dealing with right now, and his offensive line's bad right now, and he refuses to stand in the pocket and take a hit and get rid of the ball. So Tom Brady's got to be last at 50 years old. Next, I'll probably go Kirk's cousin just because, I mean, if I have like average wide receivers, I don't know. I feel like he's talented enough to get it done, and Baker will probably be second just because Baker is, I don't know, he's a little frisky in there. He can make something happen, but I don't know. I'd probably go Kirk, Baker, 50-year-old Tom Brady.
Boom.
Now, if I have mediocre wide receivers and the best offensive line in the game, then it goes 50-year-old Tom Brady first.
Oh, yeah?
If I know they can protect him, at least
So
more than they can right now.
So you're saying if your current roster was the LA Rams outside of QB, he'd be last.
Yeah.
But if the current roster was like
The
who's
Philadelphia
at the goal
Eagles,
line in bad receivers?
or bad receivers, nobody really.
Washington? I mean, they got Terry though. They got good enough receivers.
Maybe
Packers.
the Colts, but
Packers.
their offensive. Yeah, Packers. Yeah, if I have the Packers team, I'm taking Tom Brady.
Okay. I respect that answer. Give Baker
Right.
some due. That's all I was looking for. Not that
Yeah,
you
I
don't,
mean,
because I'm the Baker hater here, but
Yeah, Baker did all right. I mean, he absolutely crushed me because I had Bucks minus 6.5, and then I thought they scored a garbage time touchdown that didn't mean anything, and I was like, "What an asshole!" And then he gets the ball back, and I was like, "Wait a second, wait just a gosh dang second!"
the power
It
of
was a little-
belief.
Goes down there and wins the game like a crazy man. No, good for Baker though. He needed that.
Yeah. It was nice to see him smile again.
But on another note, I hit my future on Lions win total over.
Never doubted it.
Fire the money cannons, boys. Fire the money cannons. Yes, sir.
There's a bunch of money that just shot off.
And don't look now, but Lions are getting hot, boys, and they're going to make playoffs. And that's not a team I want to see in the playoffs.
I mean, they're looking like they might. This week's going to be interesting for them.
It's do or die. It's do or die for them and the Jets.
Yeah.
And I like that game a lot. But yeah, I'm very excited about this Lions team. You do a quick recap of last week, see how our bets went, see how we are for the year. Not my greatest week last week. Unfortunately, I went 2-4. Still up on the year though. Miami was dog shit. The Rams were dog shit. Cleveland was dog shit. And Dallas was dog shit. Detroit, I mean, that over and that -2.5 was the easiest bet of my life. Should just parlay those two together and put 2 units on it and called it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I had 2 units on it, and it's the only reason I was up.
And then on Q's side, he lost the Tennessee bet, which I saw that coming. And then he also had Detroit. He had Baltimore, easy winner there. Cincinnati, easy winner there. And then he lost his Miami bet and his Twitter bet that he gave out before the game started. What was that bet?
It was Pittsburgh, Baltimore over 36.5, and it ended up at 30.
Yeah. So I am 49 and 44 on the year at plus 3.5 units. Quentin is 50 and 56 at minus 7.8 units.
Just
hey, there's still some time
everywhere.
I got a teaser for you this week that'll get you back to plus money if you want it.
So, on another note, the model is 21 and 7 over the last 2
21 and
weeks.
7. 21 and 7.
11 and 2 last week.
11 and 2 last week, and we didn't listen. I didn't listen.
So since week 5, because the model, as you know, I've stated before, first 4 weeks are extremely volatile because there's just not enough data yet for it to really be reliable. But since week 5 is now 97 and 70 on the season and up 18 units.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty dang solid if you ask me.
Pretty dang solid. But we can get into those model picks if you want, looking at this week's spread. Playoff pictures coming into form now. We have roughly 5 to 7 teams that are legitimate contenders for a Super Bowl, and then about another 9 teams on top of that that can at least make the playoffs. And
who are those 5?
5 to 7. It's
Or no, the 5, the 1 to 5.
1 to 5 is Chiefs, Bills, Cowboys, 49ers, and Eagles. And then you could maybe throw Cincy in there, and you can maybe throw Baltimore in there.
Yeah, I think I got to throw Cincy in. That's like and make it 6. But yeah, I can't throw Baltimore in. They're just not consistent enough right now.
Their defense is so good. They got a running game. They'll probably get Lamar back here in the next couple of weeks. And Harbaugh is just such a good coach. But I mean, I'd say yeah, 5 with Cincy knocking on the door, and then Baltimore just below them. So if you're tiering them, it's like you have like AA is the top 5, then like AB is Cincinnati, then like
Antonio
BB. Brown. Yeah. But no, I mean, then outside of those 7, I mean, you just gotta look to the future and be like, the future is bright. Like if you're the Detroit Lions, or maybe if you're the Washington Commanders skins, you got some hope going forward there.
That is a terrible name. That just that just grossed me out. Commander skins.
And the NFC South should just forfeit their playoff, their automatic bid into the playoffs this year. Like they should just do the world a favor and give their conference or their division bid to the Lions.
That would be awesome.
Give the Detroit Lions a home game.
I'm here for it. I'd love to.
Lions would be winning that division right now if like 3 plays went their way throughout the season.
Yep. That's the Lions gonna lion, man.
But
they're gonna keep on covering. Right now. I know that much.
They're hot right now, and that Bills game may come back to haunt them, but they're hot right now, boys. But we'll get started this week with the Thursday night football game, as we always do. We have the San Francisco 49ers at home with the Seattle Seahawks coming in. Maybe not have Kenneth Walker for this game. San Francisco is 3.5-point favorites at Seattle. Total of 43.5. What do you got in this game?
So, San Fran's won 6 straight and covered in 5 of their last 6 games. Like they are
good. Brock Purdy's good.
Number 2 run defense in the NFL by DVOA. And Seattle's lost 3 of their last 4. I mean, they haven't covered in 4 straight games.
They don't look good.
No, I mean, they're coming back down to earth a little. Like, the question here is, can Brock Purdy keep it up? I don't think he needs to. Seattle's one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, 26th in DVOA in run defense.
You
I
know
think
who
San
runs the ball
Francisco's
well?
going to run. Yeah. Who?
San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at running the football.
You know who's a pretty good running back? Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, that guy. He's pretty solid. I mean, I'm staying away from this game because we're spread 3.5. I don't like a 3.5 number here as a favorite enough to. I guess I should say I don't like the matchup enough to merit betting minus 3.5. But I do like San Fran here, so I'm leaning San Fran, no play.
So I love this game. I'm taking San Fran, kind of a rat line, but they're just firing at all cylinders right now. That defense looks so damn good. Kenneth Walker's probably not playing him. If he does, it doesn't matter. Christian McCaffrey is an absolute stud. Brock Purdy is amazing. Brandon Ayuk's coming on. No Debo, which kind of sucks, but maybe that can get Kittle going in the short intermediate game. And yeah, that defense is the real deal. They just play so fast. Like when you watch them, like I don't know, they just look like they're playing a different game than everybody. And by God, who's their quarterback that got hurt?
Garoppolo or Trey Lance?
No, Trey Lance. If Trey Lance is good, like watch out because this team's set for like 3 years minimum.
Dude, but it would be the most Kyle Shanahan thing on earth to give 3 first-round picks to get a quarterback and then end up playing your like 7th round Mr. Irrelevant over him. Like that would fit the narrative.
He looks good.
He's a Shanahan quarterback. Trey Lance was never a Shanahan quarterback.
Yeah, Brock
Purdy
made
sense.
I watched a lot of Brock Purdy in college, and he definitely has this in him, but he also has a different version in him that ain't so good. So we'll see if
sophomore Brock Purdy right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. He basically went season by season, so maybe he'll finish out this season strong and then not look so good next season. But yeah, watch out for San Fran. They're gonna be a tough out. Yeah, I got San Fran minus 3.5. I'm not touching the total here. The model has it as a no play on both the total and the spread. Moving on, we have the Indianapolis Colts at home Indianapolis Colts going on the road to Minnesota. Minnesota's 4-point favorites, total of 48.5. The model loves the under 48.5 here. What about you?
Man, so Colts kind of like Seattle. They've lost 3 straight. I was looking up some numbers on them earlier today. Realized they've only scored more than 20 points twice all year.
Yeah, they're like the Broncos.
That's atrocious in today's day and age. I mean, maybe they'll score a decent amount. Minnesota's defense isn't great, but I don't think they need to be. Indy's defense plays a bend don't break system that Kirk Cousins lives to check down to the flat against these type of defenses. It's what he excels at. So I mean, I'm leaning towards Minnesota, but I'm staying away from it because, like you mentioned 2 weeks ago, the Colts quit, or last week on the recap, the Colts quit against Dallas, and they went into a bye week, and I don't know if they're gonna respond or if they're just already in the offseason.
Yeah, I have no idea what to think about this Colts team right now. They look competent in 3 quarters against a very good Dallas team, and then one thing broke Dallas's way, and the floodgates open, and they absolutely just quit. So Minnesota has the firepower to make them quit, so I'm not touching this game. I think it could be very close, but I also think Justin Jefferson can catch a 75-yard touchdown in a 2-point game with 13 minutes left, and the Colts lose by 20.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one. We have Baltimore going on the road to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is 3-point favorites in this game, total at 37.5. The model loves Baltimore covering the spread on the road and loves the over 37.5. What about you?
So Baltimore, Tyler Huntley's in question. I mean, they might be starting a guy named Anthony Brown, and I don't even know where he played college ball.
He plays cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that Anthony Brown?
They're loaning him out like they do in professional soccer.
So, I mean, I'm assuming Huntley will probably be able to go this game, but I'm no doctor and I've never seen the guy in my life, so I have no right to be believed on that.
Huntley didn't look good last week either, though. So I mean,
I don't care. I'm betting Baltimore +3, and I'm betting under 38.5. I think this game's going to be a ugly.
You like the under?
There. I like the under.
So you're going against the model there.
I am.
The very, very hot model.
Yep.
So I didn't see the model before we started this, and I'm also taking the Ravens +3. Jim Harbaugh is a dog. I just think they're a better coach team, more disciplined team. I love that defense. I think that defense can give Deshaun Watson a lot of problems. I hope not, because my fantasy season basically rides solely on the Cleveland Browns, which hindsight might have been not the best thing in the world, but I have Njoku, Watson, and Nick Chubb, so hoping that's not the case. So
since Watson's entered the lineup there, they had, like, it's only 2 games now, but they have gotten so far away from their power run concepts that they live and breathe on. Like, historically under Stefanski, it just makes no sense.
It's almost like they're doing like baptism by fire with Watson. Just like, we don't really have a shot at making the playoffs this year. Like, just give him as many reps as you can. Go out there and do as many formations as you can. Get him back into football shape through playing, which, I mean, is not the worst thing in the world, since, I mean, he's only going to play, 6 games this year? So I
didn't think about it that way. That makes sense, though, because they're like, he needs real reps. Mental reps can't do the same thing. He needs real reps to see it.
If they were in a good position to make the playoffs, I think it's still a heavy dose of Chubb and the kicker they have. Who's the kicker they have?
Shoot, I don't even know his name. I didn't know there was going to be a pop quiz on random teams' kickers.
No, the other running back.
Oh,
kicker.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, yeah. I thought it would still be a lot of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, I think, if they were in a position to make the playoffs. But I think Stefanski knows that he's got to basically just throw Deshaun to the fire and make sure that he still can be that dude, but kind of just reintroduce him to the NFL, because, I mean, there's no point to, like, baby step his way in at this point if they're out of it anyway. So
if he's not broken, if he wasn't broken by Houston, he's not going to be broken by this. You know, I mean, you have that luxury.
But not playing in 2 years without injury, and just not playing and not being injured, it's like, how much did you focus on getting back to the game? Like, you never know how these guys think, and then he's got all the off-field issues. Like, who knows how much he even threw a ball or did really anything, and then you basically mortgage your entire future on the guy. So it's like, you want to see what you got with him. So, I mean, he's a veteran at this point. It's not like, I mean, he's still kind of young, but I mean, he's in NFL terms, he's a veteran. So it's like, you want to make sure he's still something for you.
On the Baltimore side, Jim Harbaugh is 51-32 in his career as a road dog, but 36-63 on the money line as a road dog. So you definitely want the spread, not the money line on this one.
Yeah, I love the Ravens in this game. But moving on, we have the Miami Dolphins going on the road to Buffalo to face the Bills. Bills are 7.5-point favorites, total of 42. The model likes the over in this game. What do you got?
So, Von Miller done for the season. Was that before last week's game, or
yes,
Sunday? Okay, so he was still on the field Sunday, or not? He was not on the field Sunday.
He was already out.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest. On this one, 7.5 just seemed rich to me, so I'm avoiding it. Like, I want to bet the Bills in this game, but I can at 7.5. Tyreek Hill in 4 games against the Bills has 157 yards.
Yeah.
That's it. Like they have limited
Oh,
him,
man.
and limiting him is a great strategy to beating the Dolphins. But 7.5 is just in snowy Buffalo. I don't know.
I think it's always a good strategy if you're like, let's limit their best player, no matter who it is. So
Yeah,
probably a
But-
good strategy to go in if you're a young head coach.
strategy
Playing
and execution.
Playing against a team, it's like, let's let their best player not beat us. Bill Belichick has made a career off that strategy.
Yeah,
And teams just can't figure out, be like, oh, we have this guy who's also pretty good. Like, instead of forcing it to our best player, like, let's let our second best player try to go out there and make a name for himself. And it's crazy how many coaches just won't do it. And they're like, no, we're going to keep throwing it to Tyreek. But this is another one. Like I said, I didn't see the model before this podcast started, but I have over 42 in this game. Too many weapons. It's like good defenses, too many weapons. All right,
like,
Tyreek Hill last week got his first touchdown, hadn't got a target all game, and got a 65-yard rushing touchdown because there was a fumble and the ball just squirted out, and he just happened to be standing there. It took off. I mean, Jalen Waddle could have done that. Raheem Mostert could have done that. Isaiah McKenzie could have done that. Stephon Diggs could have done that. Josh Allen could do. I mean, he's fast enough to do something like. There's just dudes all over this field, names all over. I love over 42 in this game.
I wanted to take it until I saw snow, and that combined with Tua just scaring the living shit out of me right now. The last 2
Tua's
games,
not good right now. Tua went from
Yeah.
MVP to like, oof.
because Buffalo does not have a good run offense. Miami's got a solid run defense, and Miami doesn't really have a strong run offense either. So like
can.
that's what makes
they-
me worry about betting the
they had
total
a-
in this game.
They had a
in
little
the
running
snow.
game. They had a little running game going, and then Jeff Wilson kind of got banged up, and Raheem Mostert got banged up. But I mean, if they're both healthy, or if even one of them's healthy for this game, I think they can get the run game going, get some play action going. But Josh Allen has those huge hands, and Stephon Diggs can catch anything. And Isaiah McKenzie's so good. Gabe Davis is so good. Like, I think the Bills will be able to sling it. And I think if the Dolphins can get a run game going and get some play action going, I mean, you only got to throw a 5-yard slant to Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill, and they can break it. And then if we get, really, you only need one crazy touchdown from Diggs, McKenzie, Davis, Waddle, Mostert, Cedric Wilson. Like, just name a guy. If you can just get one crazy touchdown, I think this goes over.
Yeah.
I see it. I see it.
No,
being
I
somewhere-
definitely can see it. I just, when I have a question, like questions to start with, and then weather becomes another factor, I just say I'm not betting it. Like that's where
Yeah.
I am.
The only thing that hurts is like with potential field goals is the only thing that might hurt it, but I love the over in this one. We'll move on to America's game of the week, the one we've all been waiting on. This is the one at the beginning of the year. You look at the NFL schedule and you circle your calendar for this game. It's the Philadelphia Football Eagles going down to the Big Apple of Chicago, where Chicago is 9-point underdogs at home with a total of 48.5. The model likes the under 48.5 in this game. What's your read on it?
So Bears are not good. Coming off a bye week, though, their defense is probably the worst in the NFL right now. They're going to give up points. Like 30 points against the Bears is almost a guarantee at this point. I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Chicago, though. That is a factor in stuff like this. So I haven't bet the over yet. I'll probably end up doing it. I'm not putting it out as an official play. The cover, I mean, Justin Fields could ball out and they could lose by 7, or Justin Fields could ball out and they can lose by 12. I'm not touching
What
it.
if the Bears just go out there and win this bitch?
I mean, they gotta show me something to make me believe it. That can happen.
I would-
'Cause this defense ain't
I would buy
stopping
it.
much.
I will buy a Justin Fields jersey if the Bears win this game, and wear it on every podcast for the year of 2023. Every single podcast, I'll rock a Justin Fields Bears jersey if this happens. But no, I don't have this game at all. I do have a 6-point teaser that's plus 350 that I'm putting 2 units on that we'll get to at the end of this, which I do have a piece of that game in that. But moving on, we have what a gross game. Atlanta Falcons going to the New Orleans Saints. Saints are 4-point favorites, total of 43. Model's not touching it. I'm not touching it. What are you doing here?
So you got Desmond Ridder making his first start. Marcus Mariota found out, stormed out of the building, and screamed, "I'm never coming back." Interesting aspect to this game, I think. Underrated aspect of the incumbent starter just raging out of the facility and being like,
then they put him on injured reserve.
Back. Yeah, it's just bizarre. I don't know what that's going to do in their locker room. I don't know. Interesting. But like I wanted to take Atlanta in this. I'm only taking a lean. Like 4 is just these are 2 teams that I don't see as all that far apart. Like they're very different, but I don't think overall they're all that far apart talent wise. But and when teams aren't that far apart, 4 just seems like a big number to me because so many games of teams who are of similar caliber ends within a field goal. But at the end of the day, I stayed away. I don't know what that Marcus Mariota's thing is going to do in this game. I do think rookie QB's first starts tend to get a boost from the whole team, but I think Mariota might have just negated that whole argument. So now I'm just kind of sitting here saying I don't want this game.
That division's up for grabs. It's in shambles. The winner of that division's got to play the Cowboys. So give me anybody but the Bucs, please, because I do not want to see Tom Brady in the first round of the playoffs, no matter how bad that Tampa Bay team has been. So give me Carolina, give me New Orleans, give me the Falcons, please, dear God. So that's all I have to say about that game. We'll move on to big game with big implications for both teams. Both teams in a must-win situation to keep their playoff hopes alive. You have the Detroit Lions going over to the Windy City, New York, facing off against the Jets. Jets are 1-point favorites in this game, which is shocking to me, and total of 44.5. Model likes the over. What do you like in this game?
I'm not shocked that the Jets are 1-point favorites. That's exactly where I had this game at. Their home field, neutral field. I think Detroit's minor favorites. So that made sense to me.
I thought going to New York, it would be. I thought it was Lions minus 2.5. I think the Lions are 5 point. I think Lions are 5 points better. And if you give 3 points for home field, I thought it was gonna be Lions minus 2.5 going into the game.
Okay. See, I think these Detroit's
defense is
an offense.
Detroit's defense has been playing much better.
They have been playing better, but I don't think I think this Jets defense is playing very good football right now.
Yeah,
I don't think Detroit's seen a defense on their level since they played San Fran in week 1, and San Fran wasn't at that level yet. So I think they're going to get a bit of a surprise in this game. And at first, I was leaning towards the Jets to cover the 1, but then I slapped myself in the head, took a long look at myself in the mirror, and just shouted at myself, "Don't sleep on the Lions," and just said, "I'm avoiding it."
Yeah, we don't sleep on the Lions, boy. But this is another one. I'm taking the over in this game. So 3 of my first 4 picks were all model picks. So that's making me feel pretty good with how hot the model is right now. But yeah, I'm taking over 44.5. Garrett Wilson has been looking incredible. Mike White with 17 broken ribs, a broken sternum, broken collarbone, 2 broken fibulas. I'm pretty sure he shattered his humerus as well. Probably has a concussion. He's gonna run it out there, and he's gonna sling for 300 because that's what Mike White does.
He's a man for the people.
Yeah, so I am taking the over in this game. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. If the Jets play this like I think they are, they're gonna put Sauce on the 2, which is probably gonna be DJ Chark. and just take him completely out of the game, which I'm assuming Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get double covered. So I also like Jameson Williams anytime touchdown this week. They didn't use him much last week again, but they snuck him onto the field and hit him for a 50-yard bomb, and nobody was even close to him. So I like another situation like that where maybe it's halfway through a drive, they're maybe 5-6 plays into a long drive, they're only on the 40, and they just kind of sneak Jameson Williams out there who hasn't been on the field yet, and then all of a sudden he's running 50 yards for a touchdown. So I love Jameson Williams anytime touchdown in this game. I don't have the odds on that. I looked all over before the podcast, but as soon as I find them, I will post them. And I love Jameson Williams anytime touchdown in this game. And the over.
Makes sense to me.
On to the next one, we have Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road to the Carolina Panthers. Panthers 2.5-point favorites. Total is 38.5. Model likes the over. What do you got in this game?
So Pittsburgh's defense has been playing some very good football since TJ Watt got back. Carolina's defense has started playing some pretty darn good football since Matt Rule was fired and Steve Wilkes took over.
They might make the playoffs.
But at the end of the day, this game, to me, is going to come down to which team runs the football better and minimizes the mistakes. And I trust Maserati Mitch, assuming he's starting, to minimize his mistakes better than Sam Darnold. And I trust the Steelers to run the football against Carolina's defense better than like Najee Harris to do it better than Chuba Hubbard against the Steelers defense. Give me Steelers money line plus 115.
Steelers money line plus 115. I might tell you on that. I think the Panthers might get hot and make the playoffs. If Panthers win this game, they're making the playoffs. But yeah, I haven't touched a side on this game, but I just said I'm 3 of my first 4 picks were with the model, and I was feeling really good about that until we got to this game. I'm taking the under in this game. I'm taking under 38.5. Both these defenses are really good. Not a whole lot of firepower on the offensive sides of the ball. Najee Harris has looked good, not great. I mean, he's kind of coming into form a little bit. Started the season very, very mediocre, but he's kind of getting his footing and getting some like ground game going a little bit. Deontay Johnson looking very mediocre. Mitchell Trubisky had one big drive last week as soon as he came into the game, and you're like, oh my God, is Mitch gonna come out here and ball out? And then he just didn't. And then it's Sam Darnold. Like, the only thing that scares me about this is like defensive touchdowns. But yeah,
Mitch
I'm taking
Trubisky's
under.
Never thrown a pick six.
I was more worried about Sam Darnold. But
hey, that's the one Mitch stat that is incredible. I have to throw it out there.
Now that you say that, he's going to throw 3 of them.
That's okay.
You kind of jinxed me calling out Sam Darnold there, saying it was Mitch. But yeah, I'm taking under 38.5 in that one. Moving on, we have Kansas City Chiefs going down to H-Town. Houston Texans are 14-point underdogs at home. Total of 49.5. Model likes the under in this game. What do you got?
I got nothing. I mean, I
got nothing either.
I thought the Texans should have been like 17-point dogs again, but obviously last week scared the books away from that.
They showed up. That's the Dallas Cowboys effect.
But I mean, I want nothing to do with the spread.
Teams are going to show up against Dallas, and that Dallas game. I mean, so many, like every single mistake we made, or every single mistake Dallas made, was like critical, like to the final score. Like they could have made those mistakes at like different parts of the field, and it probably would have been a blowout. But where the mistakes were made, were just at the worst times. Like if you watch the game, like Dallas was dominating and then couldn't score, and then Houston wasn't very good, and then something would break their way, and then they would score. And then like the entire game, you're watching it and you're like, Houston's getting dominated and staying in the game. Dallas ends up pulling it off. But nothing about that
It's
game
really
scares me.
hard for any team to not cover a spread that tall. Like
Yeah.
end of the game backdoor touchdown will cover that in a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, and that takes us to our next game, Dallas Cowboys versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 4.5-point underdogs. Model likes under 47.5. I'll take this one over. Just kind of started talking about it. Nothing about that game last week scared me. Dallas was the better team. They didn't play bad. They made mistakes. Philadelphia has played that game 6 times this year, and nothing about that game changes my mind about this Dallas team. I still think they're the best team in the NFC. I think we're going to beat the shit out of Philadelphia here in a couple of weeks. I'm still riding high on Dallas. Jacksonville is scary good right now, though. Trevor Lawrence is kind of starting to get his rhythm. They got a little bit of a running game kind of going. Not a whole lot, but, Evan Ingram looks incredible for him. And then all year, Christian Kirk has just quietly been a pretty good wide receiver for him. And then, if Trevor Lawrence keeps playing like he's playing, it could be a dangerous team in the future. So I'm not touching the spread here. I'm not touching the total. But yeah, Dallas is just fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that team. Signed T.Y. Hilton over the weekend, so maybe that'll help alleviate some of the underneath coverage because he can definitely blow the top off of defense still. I don't know how much he can give us at receiver outside of that, but he's still got a speed, and sometimes that's all you need to just take some pressure off your run game and make people respect your deep ball. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us. It's super cheap. Basically got him for free. So if it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. But yeah, not worried about Dallas, but I'm not taking a plus 4.5 against a hot Jacksonville Jaguars team.
It's a terrible number to take, 4.5 as a favorite. But I'm putting the hammer down. I'm putting it down.
Don't trust the Jags.
The Jags are on my do not trust list. 2 weeks ago.
Can't do it.
2 weeks ago, I was on this show railing about how, man, I thought Trevor Lawrence had turned a corner and it lost me a bet because of it, because it was just like he was great one week and then he was terrible the next week. And it's just, now we're back in this seat and he was great again. Does that mean he's turned a corner again? No, they're on my do not trust list.
Don't blame you. But yeah, I'm super excited for this Dallas team. This is probably the most I've ever been excited for a Dallas Cowboys team since the 2014 team with Tony Romo and Des Bryant and DeMarco Murray. This is the best I've felt about a Dallas team since then. And don't even bring up Dak's rookie season because I was banging the drum the entire season that we couldn't get it done that year. So moving on, we have Arizona Football Cardinals without Kyler Murray versus the Denver Broncos without Russell Wilson. Denver's 2.5-point favorites, 36.5-point total here. Model doesn't like anything. I don't like anything. Are you touching this game with Colt McCoy and Brett Rippon?
So, put the Jags on my do not trust list. There's only room for one team on that at a time. So Denver's off my do not trust list. And
you're betting on Brett Rippon?
Because I am sick and messed up and just an absolute twisted individual, I have convinced myself that Denver's defense is going to dominate this game. I'm taking Denver minus 2.5.
Brett Rippon? Colt McCoy's a good backup.
I know it's a bad bet. I don't care. Give me Denver minus 2.5.
What would the spread be if Russell Wilson was playing this game after the game he had against the Chiefs?
I wouldn't trust this if Russell Wilson was playing.
I'm just like
it would probably be 3.5.
You think after that game he had last week? It looked like he finally turned a corner. That offense finally got rolling.
Did look better.
He threw that pick six early, and you're like, you literally thought it was the end for Russell Wilson. Like, there's no way he can come back from this. They're down 27-0 in the first 5 minutes of the game.
But
And Russell Wilson just
really,
comes out and balls out.
For me-
Balls out, makes every throw. The defense gets hot, starts making some interceptions. And you're like, holy shit, this Denver team could be good. And then Russell Wilson breaks his face and gets a concussion, and he's out for a little bit. But yeah, I mean,
so
2.5
game.
I don't know.
Sorry. Like,
I was just saying 2.5
honestly,
is a weird number.
it
Brett
is.
Rippon.
Well, I mean, it is, but it's a very reasonable number for a team that is just going to be driven by their defense, I think.
But they can't run the
Within
ball.
a field goal at home. I mean, I think they're gonna kick Arizona's ass this game. Like, I
mean,
think
they're
their
very well-
defense is just gonna kick their ass. And
They're very
a
well
big
might.
part of this is probably just my entire childhood running before my eyes of the Bears defense destroying terrible teams and me thinking it meant they were good and they weren't good, but it just like a dominant defense can take over a game like this, and I think the Broncos defense is going to do exactly that.
So what do you mean? So you think they win this game like what, 7-3?
Yeah, something like that, or maybe like 14-3, maybe
Yeah.
13-3. But I think they're gonna have multiple turnovers that get them great field position and easy scores.
Brett Rippon. My God. All right. Quentin is betting on Brett Rippon. Doesn't
live
even
for
care
the
about the
Rippons.
defense. He was like, I don't care that I don't.
I'm a
He
Bears
said
fan. All I know is defense.
He said the Cardinals can put up 30 and Brett Rippon's going to get it done. Is what he told me before the podcast started. All right. Moving on to the New England Patriots. We have Bill Belichick going against his protege with the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are 1-point underdogs at home with a total of 44.5. The model likes the under 44.5 in this game. I'm not picking it. What do you got?
I don't want it. I think my gut says Belichick is going to school his former OC,
Daniel?
but history says that his former coordinators have done pretty well against him. So I don't know. I don't trust anything about the Raiders. I really don't trust anything about Mac Jones. Like,
I was about to hop on the Raiders train. Like, I hopped on the Raiders train last week, and I was like, Josh McDaniels got this team turned around. They're about to come out here, shock the world, make the playoffs, maybe even make a little bit of a push. Devontae Adams looking hot. This whole team looking hot, and then they just go out there and absolutely shit the bed. So, yeah, I'm not touching this game whatsoever. We can move on to the Tennessee Titans going down, up, across to LA, going to the Chargers. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites after a monster performance by Justin Herbert. 47-point total here. This is another under pick for the model. The model likes under 47. I'm not touching this game either. What do you got?
I lean towards the under. I think that is a fair call, but I don't like it enough to actually take it. And my gut tells me that Tennessee probably covers if this is 3.5, 2.5. I'm not so sure. Herbert looked the best he has all year last week, and it makes me think maybe his ribs are finally healed and he's finally like playing right, because
but
he had
just
no
reminds
line
me-
as a rookie, and he looked better than he had.
It reminds me so much. I mean, the Chargers are just the Chargers. It's just Phillip Rivers reincarnated, where at his best, he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. But more often than not, he's just better than average in that 9 to 13 range. And I think Justin Herbert can be good. Like, the best of Justin Herbert is up there with Mahomes and Allen and Burrow, like those guys. But we see it so rarely from him. And I feel like every single analyst, like talking head of the media, just can't get over the disrespect Justin Herbert gets, blah, blah, blah. He's fine, but he can't stay healthy. Like he plays, but he's always taking hits, and maybe due to no fault of his own. But the Chargers can't stay healthy. It's just an ongoing cycle. It's like a circle. Like no matter what happens, it all comes back around. Like they look good, Keenan Allen goes down. They look good, Mike Williams goes down. They look good, Justin Herbert breaks his ribs. The only constant in the Chargers, for the Charger fan out there that's listening, or the only Charger fan that exists that probably can't even listen to podcasts because all they talk about how injured his team is every week, is that Austin Eckler scores touchdowns. It's the only constant. Other than that,
I give Herbert a break. I give him a break this year because he was healthy the first 2 years, and this year is his first injury, and he played through broken ribs, and it clearly impacted him.
He's Phillip Rivers, which isn't bad. Phillip Rivers is a fringe Hall of Fame guy. Like, there's no disrespect. Like, if he is Phillip Rivers, then he's gonna have a great career and may or may not get into the Hall of Fame if something breaks his way.
Yeah, if the Chargers keep charging, he's Phillip Rivers. I'll agree with that.
I mean, we're going on 20 years of this now. If you like, we basically went straight from Phillip Rivers into the Justin Herbert era, and nothing has changed. They're really good on paper. They're going to win a lot of games. They can't beat the Chiefs. I mean, Phillip Rivers never had a problem with that, but he didn't have Patrick Mahomes either. But maybe they'll make
the other thought. Sorry,
maybe they'll make back-to-back AFC championships, only not to be able to pull it out for some reason or another. That are really Phillip Rivers.
So the other thought I had with this game is, like, at first I liked the under, and then as I was thinking it through, Chargers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Tennessee wants to run the ball down your throat. Like, just
does Tennessee have a good running game? Honestly,
this year it hasn't been. I mean, their O-line is not what it used to be. Derrick Henry's still a monster, though.
Yeah, Derrick Henry had a monster game last week, but those two fumbles didn't look good. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Titans are one of those teams. It's like as soon as you doubt them, they're going to come out there and win 4 straight. But as soon as you're like, okay, Titans are good, we're betting on the Titans, they lose. So I don't know what to think about the Titans, but I'm not touching that game.
I feel like that's what they've been for like the last 2 years.
Yeah,
they're just stuck in between good and like purgatory.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. We have the Cincinnati Bengals, one of my playoff contender teams from earlier, going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is 3.5-point underdogs at home versus the Bengals. Total of 44. The model loves Cincy in this spot, minus 3.5. Model loves the under 44. What do you got?
Model loves Cincy. I love Cincy. I mean, I've been saying all year Tampa's due to bounce back. I stopped betting it after like week 3 or week 4. And I mean, this isn't about Tampa anymore. This is about how good Cincy is. Cincy looked great last week, despite unexpectedly not having T. Higgins. Like, that's a big
I don't think that was unexpectedly. I think they knew.
Maybe they did. But still, without T. Higgins, like...
No, T. Higgins is very, very good.
This defense can eat. The O-line's coming together now. Like, Joe Burrow looks like Tom Brady. Give me Cincy minus 3.5. I don't care about the obscure number here. I think since he's on fire right now, I'm gonna keep shooting.
I agree, and since he can rush the passer up the middle, and that's what Tom Brady hates, Tampa Bay can't block anybody for more than 2 seconds. Tom Brady's having to get the ball out so quickly. He's not taking sacks, but he's not forcing the ball downfield. He's just getting the ball out of his hands so he doesn't get hit. So, yeah, I love the Bengals in this game. I don't have the Bengals straight up. They're another part of my 6-point teaser that I'm going to lay out at the end of the game or into the pod that is plus 350 that I'm putting 2 units on. But one thing I want to speak on is I just had his name in my head. But Bears guard, Kyle Long. Kyle Long talked at the beginning of the season about this Bengals offensive line, and it made a lot of sense. Basically, he said you have a bunch of individual parts that are really good that have never played together. He was like, they're going to struggle early. He was like, but watch out at the end of the season. Once you start hitting week 12, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17 going to the playoffs, he's like, that offensive line is going to look completely different. They were getting killed at the beginning of the season. Everybody was like, oh, what a joke this is. They wouldn't spend all that money on the O-line. They still can't protect Joe Burrow. Like, this offensive line looks worse than it did last year where they had nobody. And they've just quietly become one of the best offensive lines the past 4 weeks. And that's just something that takes time, takes reps, takes practice. And if they can keep Joe Burrow up and they get Joe Mixon going and they get Samaje Perine going like he's going right now with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, I mean, it don't matter who else is out there. They're just slinging that rock. They are a dangerous, dangerous football team. So, yeah, if I was taking a side in this, I would take Cincy plus 3.5 all day.
It's Cincy minus 3.5.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
But yeah, I would lay the points with Cincy all day.
You know who else said that about the Bengals O-line before the season?
Kirk Cousins.
This guy. I said 8 games, not 12, but
yeah. I mean, I kind of agreed with him, but like, it was one of the, like, you listen to a professional, like a guy like Kyle Long break it down, and it makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
Than just somebody being like, well, they're gonna, like, they just need the reps, they're gonna be good. Like, anybody can say that, but if you go, I can't remember where he was talking about it, but he did like a full like 15-minute breakdown of like why it's going to work and why it's not working, and like the intricacies of like offensive line protections at the NFL level. Because a lot of guys have played college and high school, or like played O-line in high school, played O-line in college, and you just think like, oh well, like I know it's difficult to play like next to somebody, but it's like, you know, it only takes a couple of weeks. Like I remember I lost my guard in high school, and after 2 weeks, me and the backup were just fine. Like, just the details and intricacies that go into like NFL protections, it's just so different. And then when you stack that on top of, you have veteran guys coming in that have probably played in some sort of system and had some sort of security with who they were with and knew exactly what they were going to do on every single play. Like, all it takes is like a half second, like, oh, is he going to get him? And then all of a sudden you've missed your block. Like, yeah, it's that quick in the NFL. Like, you don't have a second to think. And that was like his main point. He was like, as soon as you're playing without thinking, the O-line will get better. And that's what's happened.
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure most high school football teams would break the practice regulations for the NFL. So, yeah. These guys have less time to practice than you did in high school.
Yeah, and then on top of that, a lot of plays in a game is what, 60? If you run 60 plays in a game, you ran a lot of offensive plays. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not a whole lot of reps. Like, in high school, for instance, like we would do 60 run plays than 60 pass plays. Like, in a practice. Like, you don't have that much time in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's more limited.
You just don't have the reps. But going on to our next game here, second to last game of the card, we have the New York Football Giants going to the Washington Football Skins. Washington is 4.5-point favorites at home with a total of 40. The model loves the Giants here and loves the over 40. What do you got?
So when I was looking at this game before, and to be clear, I don't use the model to make my picks. I make my picks and then I run the model. So that's why mine aren't always with it very much, especially when it's hot like this. But that being said, I looked at this game, said, New York, what?
That's why I don't agree with the model, especially when it's hot. Like, basically, like, I'm bad at gambling. We're all bad at gambling. That's the funniest part. I'm
especially bad this year. I've had a rough year.
It was just funny how you phrased that.
Yeah. But I looked at this game and I said, Giants and Washington seem almost exactly the same to me. I went and looked at the schedule and was reminded, yes, just 2 weeks ago, they tied. I do not understand the 4.5. If it was 3 on game after the time, I do not understand 4.5.
What is Taylor
4.5? This just makes so much sense to me.
Carson Wentz came off of IR. Like, is he moved the line? I don't know. No, I don't think so. But
they're in the hunt, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, they
magic.
It's Heineken, but Yeah, like nothing Washington has done since that game is like, oh, Washington was on bye last week, so Washington's going back-to-back games against the Giants because they played the Giants, had a bye, played the Giants. So weird scheduling little quirk there, but yeah, I mean,
That shouldn't be allowed.
yeah,
Maybe
4.5
that's why.
point.
I
Weird
guess
game.
that's why
I'm not.
It's a little extra juiced.
I'm not touching this, but yeah. So they basically get to prepare for the Giants for 3 straight weeks, which is it's still weird, but it's like
Okay,
I kind of like Brian Daboll more than I like Ron
Yeah.
Rivera in this
I
situation.
think Daboll
Saquon-
just better.
Saquon can run the ball, and I think Daboll is going to give them a completely different look than they had last game, knowing I feel like Daboll is a guy that kind of knows that scheduling quirk, and he's like, we're gonna like they. I feel like I don't know. I can't. I'm just speculating on this, but I feel like the first time they played them, they went in with like 2 game plans, saying like, "This is what we're gonna do the first game. This is what we're gonna do the second game," but practice it in the same week, so you already have a little bit under your belt when you come to just the game 2 weeks later, and so you kind of had 2 different game plans going in. I feel like he's a guy that would do something like that because, like, in his mind, he's like, as long as we split here, we're still alive for the playoffs. Like, so I feel like that would be something a guy like that would possibly do. But yeah, I like the Giants here, but I'm not betting it.
I had a similar tinfoil hat theory that they just said last week they game planned for Washington, and that's why they looked so terrible.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not beating the
it
Eagles
makes sense.
anyways. Let's just make sure we beat Washington.
Yeah, just install a base system for the Eagles, and like if we go out there and what we're doing works, like it works. But yeah, we're probably not beating them either way, like because everybody has a base system, and they didn't really look like they tried too hard to beat the Eagles. They were down 21-0 in the first 6 minutes. Like, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. But moving on to the last game on the card, we have Los Angeles Rams going to Green Bay to face the Packers. Green Bay 7-point favorites in this game at home with a 39.5 point spread. Baker Mayfield and the boys may get it done again. We'll see. Model loves the Rams here, catching 7 points, and loves the under 39.5. Are you touching this one?
I'm not. The model loves the Rams lately, though. I mean, it was 2-0 on the Rams game last week, but like I don't love the Rams. I do not want to touch a Rams game.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game either. So I will get into my teaser then. The much anticipated, sought after teaser of the week. 6-point teaser. 5 plays in the 6-point teaser. Plus 350. Tell me where I lose this. Bengals plus 2.5. Cowboys plus 1. Philadelphia minus 3. The New York Giants plus 10.5. Bills minus 1.
Wait, can you repeat the second and the third one real quick?
Bengals plus 2.5. Cowboys plus 1. Philadelphia Eagles minus 3. Giants plus 10.5. Bills minus 1.
Okay, so Cincinnati going to Tampa Bay plus 2.5. New York Giants going to Washington plus 10.5. Those two seem like winners to me. Let's see, Buffalo at home against Miami just to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dallas plus 1 going into Jacksonville. Ooh,
That's the only one that kind of scares me, but
Jacksonville's got some weird magic around December games, I feel like, at home. So that's the one that, yeah, I'm with you. That's the one that has me more iffy, but I don't think, like, my logic says, yeah, that makes sense. And then Philly in Chicago to win by 3, not a chance.
Not it. I hope that's what I lose on. Well,
no, that's
Philly,
a lock. That feels like a lock of a teaser.
if Philly loses by 1 or 2, and I'll lose this, I might. I might do something stupid.
And like what?
I burn the city down. I may have to commit some arson after that, but
That's an arson and raging kind of moment.
yeah, like. But if Philly loses outright and I lose it, I'll throw those 2 units away. I'll pull over the garbage can like Skip Bayless and throw the jersey in there and say sorry about you, Philly, and then they'll come to Dallas shortly after that, get their brakes beat off of them, and then they'll have to play Tom Brady in the first round of the playoffs and see how fun that is for them. Yeah,
They probably have some nightmares about that.
can't wait. Oh man, if Philly loses this game, they're gonna be the 5 seed if they lose this game.
Yeah, that is quite the drop.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas has a 3rd best record in football. We're the 5 seed.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. 1 to 5 that's steep. That would suck.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I think the team with the better record should get home field in the first round of the playoffs, regardless of what you did in your own division. That's just my hot take. But
yeah, on that.
Dallas doesn't have the greatest home field advantage, so I'm not saying that as a Dallas fan in general, but it's like the Lions could potentially. No, they won't. I was gonna say the Lions could potentially have a better record than the
Bucks.
No, I was gonna say the West winner, but San Francisco's kind of taken off here lately, so that's not gonna happen.
But the South winner.
Yeah, they'll have but they won't play them. I'm saying like
Oh, I see what you mean.
Dallas or Philly will play the winner of the NFC South and be 6 games better than them on the record, and have to go to Tampa or Carolina, which is dumb.
The thought of it even being Carolina is just like, what the fuck?
If Carolina wins this week, I think I truly think it's going to be them, because I don't think Atlanta gets it done. The Saints are hot garbage, and they already have a win over Tampa Bay. So all they have to do, I think they have to go like 2-2. They have to win this week and go 1-2, I believe, and I think they're in basically no matter what, unless Tampa wins out or something. I was looking at the scenarios, like if they're basically have an extremely good chance to get in if they win this week against the Steelers, which is crazy. Like, does Nebraska just fire Matt Rule and go hire Steve Wilkes if that happens?
I mean, it's not a good look.
I would love to see it. It's like, oh, the team that you got fired from like halfway through the season that was one of the worst teams in football made the playoffs after you got fired.
How dysfunctional it was under you.
And they fired and they traded away their best player. It's like, what if Steve Wilkes had freaking Christian McCaffrey?
Oh, dude, that's a good question.
But
I mean, they'd definitely be in the playoffs if it was a full year of Wilkes and Christian McCaffrey, right?
Oh yeah, I mean they'd probably be the 2 seed because we all know the Vikings are frauds.
Frauds.
Hey, if the Vikings lose out, the Lions can still win that division.
I'm here for it. I want a front row seat to that.
If the Lions win that division, I'm so in on them. The Lions hosting, I think in that scenario, the Lions would, yeah, because if you look at all the other, I don't think any of the other teams can catch Detroit in record. So I think Detroit would be the 6th seed, or I think Minnesota would be the 6th seed. So I think it would be Detroit hosting Minnesota in the first round of the playoffs. I want that so much.
But did you see what Dan Campbell said about the Penei Sewell play?
No, but I'm sure it was fantastic.
Oh, it was hysterical. He said that he was distracted by some fans doing the wave and didn't catch the play call. And he looked up and Penny Sewell was catching the ball and he was just like, what? But my main question here is, how distracting is the wave? Like, did you just
I
get
don't know.
mesmerized by it?
I could
don't
I
think
could
I've
see
ever been
Dan
that distracted by that.
I could see Dan Campbell being like so hyper focused on football that he's like really like never taking his eyes off the field. And just like in a random moment, like he like turned around to say something to somebody and like just caught a glimpse of like the
Wide-eyed.
wave. And he was like, what is going on here? Like,
Are they allowed to do that?
like what? Like, how are they so coordinated? Like, do they
must
know
have
each other?
practiced for weeks.
Yeah, it's just like I can see him being the type of guy that's like just so hyper focused, just never noticed it before in his playing career, NFL career, coaching career, and just like in a split second, like caught his eye, and he was like, "Whoa!" Like he gave the reaction that like everybody thinks the way people will react whenever they start the wave. Like that's the reaction that the people that start the wave think they're gonna get from everybody.
You
They're
think
like,
the people who were
"Whoa."
doing it were like, finally.
Finally some recognition. Like, yeah, waivers are where's the worst people, but I think that's all we got for this week. Unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, R.I.P. the legend, the hero, Callaway Cornelius IV, sweetest dog ever. He passed away over the weekend. I was very sad, but also R.I.P. Mike Leach, one of the greatest coaches ever did, one of the greatest coaches in college football history. R.I.P. the Pirate. You're the GOAT, and don't sleep in
I
lines.
I got one thing to add on the Mike Leach.
One thing to add. Let's hear this coaching tree.
Man, there's a legitimate case to be made for him to be one of the most influential coaches of the last 50 years, if not ever. Like,
On the sport of football.
yeah, not just on college football, on the sport of football.
I mean,
what
Cliff
he
Kingsbury isn't a head coach right now without him.
even aside from coaching tree, like what he did with the air raid and him and Hal Mume put up great stats but never really won. Mike Leach did both. You know, he won and showed everyone that you can win with inferior talent by repping things this much and by having your staples that you stick to, but disguising them in different formations. And like that went through permeations, like down to the high school level, up to the pros. Like there is so much that happened
Pee Wee
because
through
of the
NFL
success that Mike Leach had with these concepts.
Pee Wee through NFL right now all has a hint of Mike Leach in it.
It's a sad day that he's gone, man.
It's a sad
I
day.
wouldn't
It's a bad day. It's
I
a
wouldn't know
catastrophe.
you. I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for Mike Leach.
Yeah.
I would have never gone to Texas Tech University.
I probably wouldn't have gone to Texas Tech University either. Probably
That's
just
sad.
gone to Texas State and not cared about football. Mike Leach made me fall in love with football with the Texas Tech Red Raiders probably when I was in 6th grade. So 3 years before the Michael Crabtree era. I just remember all of my friends were UT fans, and I always kind of just rooted for UT because I grew up 2 hours outside of Austin, didn't know any better. I didn't have nobody in my team had a family, or nobody in my family had a team, and so I was just like a de facto Texas fan. But like I never really cared, and then like I just really started getting into football, and I was watching the Red Raiders, like that red and black, that double T. I think it was BJ Simons at the time, maybe slinging the rock for him, and I was like, "Oh, this team's kind of fun." And then you just hear Mike Leach talk, and I'm like, "I like this guy." And then like I fell in love with Texas Tech football when I was 6th, 7th grade, and then it was my sophomore year in high school when Michael Crabtree made the catch against Texas, and yeah, I was just Texas Tech Red Raider till the day I die. RFP
Yeah, man.
to a
Like,
legend.
so Mike Leach in high school, he had a bad injury and he had a scholarship from BYU, or I'm not sure it was a scholarship or if he was supposed to walk on, but he was supposed to play at
He was a Mormon,
BYU.
which is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And he couldn't play anymore after the injury. So he just had to end his football career right there. And he, went to college, went to law school. And then before, going and passing the bar, he was like, maybe I should be a football coach. And just
Yeah.
did that. And it worked. And like me in high school, I had a really rough injury that killed my athletic, livelihood. And that was inspirational to me. Like, that's why I wanted to go to Texas Tech, because I was like, at the time I wanted to get into coaching, and I saw this guy who never played college and was having such success at that level, which is rare. And I was like,
Very rare.
if he can do it, maybe I can learn from that guy. I mean, like I said, I never followed through on that once I got there, because college just kind of, takes you and
Yeah.
throws stuff
Different
at
direction.
you. Yeah, but like, he was an inspiration to a lot of people. I'm not the only one. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many others who followed through on that.
So, another example, Lincoln Riley, one of the best coaches in college football right now, going into his junior or senior season, I believe, is in a one-on-one meeting with Mike Leach. He's been trying to see the field. Mike Leach says, hey, you're a really smart kid. There's not a chance of you seeing the field this year. I think that was Graham Harrell. It was Graham Harrell, Cliff Kingsbury, and I think Lincoln Riley all in the same quarterback room. And he was like, "You're not going to see the field." He was like, "I don't even want you on this team anymore. I want you to join the coaching staff as a graduate assistant." And he was like, "Forget about playing football. Your football playing career is done. You'll never play for this team. But I want you to join the coaching staff as a graduate assistant." Lincoln Riley walked out of that meeting, quit football, said, "No, I'm a football player. I'm not going to coach for you. This is horse shit." Left the meeting mad. Like, was going to leave Tech, going to leave everything, probably go play at Abilene Christian for one more year of eligibility just to say he played college ball, and slept on it, woke up the next day, took Mike Leach's offer, and now he's one of the best Power 5 coaches in the country.
It's incredible, man.
Like
How a coach's staff under him progresses over the years says a lot about the coach that they came up under. And his tree is enormous.
yeah, it's wild. And then, like, I mean, Sonny Dykes was around, I think, a little bit under Mike Leach, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
I mean, you had Dave
And
Aranda.
he coached some under Leach too.
Yeah,
At
then, I
some
mean,
point.
you had Dave Aranda, Lincoln Riley, obviously Cliff Kingsbury, just some of the biggest names in coaching right now.
Half the Big 12.
Yeah,
Dana
and
Holgerson.
yeah, Dana Holgerson. Whenever he got to the Big 12 was predicated on defense and run game, and Mike Leach completely changed the game, and to what we see of modern day Big 12 of just the run and gun offense, and it's kind of gone away from it a little bit just because everybody else has finally caught up. But yeah, it's just crazy to. I mean, it's the money ball of college football. It's like, oh, let's find different ways. Like, there's more than one way to score points than just
Yeah.
the traditional ways. And
How
then
can we get more production out of less talent?
yeah,
Like-
and then basically I mean, Alabama is running the a Mike Leach offense today, to where it's like, oh, look how successful they are with less talent. Look at the talent we can get. Like, why don't we just use the best talent in the nation and run an offense that puts up monster points with much less talent? And then, yeah, it's crazy. So sad to see. Mississippi State, that's rough. I mean, I really think he had something building there at Mississippi State. And Mississippi State is like the Texas Tech of the SEC. It's like they don't have the money, they don't have the funds. It's kind of a smaller school. Now it was always Mike Leach. Like, I don't know if he did that intentionally or if nobody just wanted to give him a shot. But I mean, he always went to what seemed to be like
Underdogs. The
underdogs, and yeah, the little brother in the conference, like Texas Tech, Washington State, like Mississippi State. Like, I just always cheered for him, and it's just super sad day for all of football, not just college football, but football as a whole. Like, there's not a football Hall of Fame, like, so I don't know if he, like, because in basketball, it's a basketball Hall of Fame, so you can be an all-time great talent in high school and be next to like LeBron James and Michael Jordan in like the basketball Hall of Fame. But like, they just need to make a football Hall of Fame and call it like the Mike Leach Memorial Hall of Fame, and specifically for him, because like his reach went like greater than college football, greater than, and like football as a whole,
as far as the sport can go.
I mean, just make a football Hall of Fame and make it only like Mike Leach and John Madden.
Yeah,
just them
probably
two.
Need Belichick in there too, but
maybe. We gotta see how that journey plays out. I'm not ready to put Belichick in there yet.
Not sold yet.
Not sold yet. Gotta see more from him.
All right. Well, that's all I got. He never took
the Browns to the playoffs.
Oh, that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, but that's it. R.I.P. Mike Leach. R.I.P. Callaway Cornelius. Best dog ever. I'm gonna miss him dearly. But all right, I think that's all I got. That's all you got.
Yep.
See you next week. Don't sleep on the Lions.